Jason, welcome to the biggest of them all.
It certainly is the biggest of them all. At 2.66 miles, the Superspeedway in Talladega, Alabama, just a short drive away from Birmingham. Tony, we're going to see some excellent speeds today as we're taking a look right now at John Hopley in qualifying. And I'll tell you what, so far so good, as he has now been beaten out by Taylor Butcher Benjamin at 54.1 seconds. These drivers are going to be out here really killing it today.
They absolutely are, and it takes a couple laps to get these things really up to full song, as Alex Eraldson now jumps to the top of the heap with a 54.09. You're at least a lap and a half before you can get the engine to full song, and by the end of the 4 laps, that's when you've got the fluids really up to temperature after churning away for almost, you got 10 miles worth of qualifying. And the rear end fluid has a parasitic loss to it. The transmission fluid has a parasitic loss to it. So we're really going to see that final lap paying off. Jason?
Yep, it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm just saying, it's not night. I want my money back.
There are no lights around this place.
Well, the movie lied.
There's lights at Daytona, but we are not at Daytona. We are at the second track that Bill France built as a giant middle finger to short tracks.
Giant, no pun intended.
Yeah, literally. This is built on an old Air Force base, and he decided he wanted the fans in Turn 1 to have an experience, or going towards Turn 1 to have an experience. So the start-finish line on most tri-oval tracks is right dead center of the dogleg on the front stretch. Not so much here at Talladega, and it has led to some amazing finishes over the years. Most notably, I remember Carl Edwards crashing. The car ended up at the end of pit road. He climbed out, and Ricky bobbied his way across the start-finish line.
I mean, to be fair, he gave it his best, and he saw them do it once in a movie, so he thought he'd give it a shot.
How many tropes have there been through the years of, I saw that on a TV show, or I saw that on a movie, and you try it and end up in traction?
I mean, fortunately, at least he didn't. It turned out for the better for him. But taking a look right now at John Hopley just finishing his qualifying effort. Joey Maines also finished. Charles Robertson in P9, the 26-year-old of Knightsville, South Carolina. Wondering how many of our drivers today either are or are not in attendance due to the hurricane that had just come through, Hurricane Ian, that kind of ravaged Florida, basically the entire state, and then into the Carolinas. I know our thoughts and prayers should probably be with those drivers and their families, as so many people in the Southeast United States are, recovering.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the most notable that I can see, and it's a shock that he's here, Brian Chu out of the greater Daytona area, currently sitting 14th quick on the timing and scoring boards, as AJ Green jumps up to 6th quick here in qualifying. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys out of Florida or down in the southern states here in the U.S. on the East Coast that their lives have just been uprooted. Most notably for us here at Sim Racing Media, we've got 2 guys down there, Matt Metler and Angel Santiago. I mean, just it's you can't help but worry about your friends. And Dave, Jason, I don't know about you guys. I know Rhea feels this way about all her drivers. You may not have ever met them in person, but you have the bond of racing with each other.
Yeah, that's right. They're like all my family, in a sense. We get together every week. We have for 2.5 years now. So in some cases, Brian Chu definitely been here with us for about 2 years. His original hometown is Fort Myers, Florida, and that was the direct hit. He lives in Orlando now, but his entire hometown is no longer. And so my heart goes out to him, his family, as they rebuild and reconstruct to a new reality, unfortunately. And so,
Well,
but
I
yeah,
saw the news article about the pier in Fort Myers just got completely annihilated.
yeah, there's a lot of destruction down there from the storm. And, we have to also keep in mind, too, that, we have other people, too, that are also in the Carolinas, too, that got affected, with power outages and flooding and stuff, too. So, big, powerful storm, but all these people mean a lot to me in here. I mean, it may call them one word during the race, but mean something completely different outside the race. And, um, but you guys enjoy the race. We're going to go get in the driver's meeting here. We're going to make sure that all the window nets stay up as we cross.
No, you had it right the first time.
Oh, okay.
The loose nut behind the wheels.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of peanuts in this part of the country, so
this is boiled peanut land, right?
Yes.
It really is. Yes. Yeah. So you guys enjoy. I'm gonna head down to my team chat, and hopefully we'll put on a good show for you. Hopefully we'll get this number 39 car up.
And we talk all the time about the high banks here at Talladega, and say again. Well, we talk all the time about the high banks at Talladega, but Jason was screwing around before we went live. Talladega's got nothing on a track that used to be over in jolly old England called Brooklands. That thing was a monster. But people starting to grid up now. But let's take a quick look at the points coming into tonight.
Alexander Aronson is sitting atop the pile right now. He's got 9 starts on the season with 3 wins, so he's already won 1/3 of the starts that he's made. Sitting right behind him is Marcus Hagman, then Christian Maltarek, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and James Bowles rounds out the top 5. I mean, the points could not be any tighter at this stage of the season, especially here atop the pile between Aronson and Hagman, the 2 Swedes here in the iSNF Xfinity Series. They're only separated by 8 points, Tony. And then as we get just below them, looks like 4th and 5th of James Bowles actually tied right now in 5th and 6th.
Right, but here's the thing you got to consider about Christian Maltarek. He hasn't run the full season. He missed the first 5 races before joining the league. So, the fact that he's in 3rd in points and less than 100 out, or only about 100 out from 1st and 2nd, keep your eye on that 91 here tonight.
Same really can be said about Taylor Butch Benjamin, actually.
Right.
Because he's only started 6 out of a possible 10. So he's had a bit of a mental one here, being in 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's go to the starting grid. What do you say, folks? So starting up on the pole is going to be the Canadian John Hopley for Sam Hunt Racing, 54.09. Nathan Alluel out of France going to start right next to him in row number 1. Row 2 is going to go to Alex Aronson and Chris V in the car that Rhea completely hates, the for sale car for Bandon Built Motors. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin and AJ Green going to roll off in row number 3. Row 4 is going to see Isaac Wilson and Marcus Hagman, with Peyton Hubbard and Joey Maines rounding out your top 10. Jason?
Yep, then we've got Christian Delgado and Charles Roberson in row number 6, with row 7 being Curtis Kelly and Michael Hagstrom. Row number 8, yes, 8, is going to be Brian Chu and Christian Malsharek, and row number 9, Mark Hanna and Chris Smith. Row number 10 is going to go to Clarence Prince and Bjorn Brostrom, Dave.
Row number 11 going to be Steven Sear and Casey Tomlinson. James Bowles and Trey Mitz going to make up row number 12. Row number 13, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer. Rhea Ferris going to be sitting on the inside line with Brian Treadwell, last night's Truck Series winner, starting in 26 on the outside of row number 13. Derek Cook and Colin Zemer in the 99 and the 66 going to be sitting in row number 14 with J.B. Banner and Tyson Pankow in row number 15. Row number 16 is Kyle Surratt, and starting shotgun on the field is going to be Mr. Brock Evans in the number 48 Chevrolet Camaro. Gentlemen, 94 laps, the scheduled distance we have today, and I'm guessing that every one of these laps that we see today is going to be action-packed, as the iSNF Xfinity Series, one of the more exciting ones that we get to see here on Sim Racing Media, as each of these drivers, it appears that, there he is, the 51, had not been in the car yet. But, we don't get to do the Xfinity Series very often. Of course, you two get to see the iSNF Cup Series on a more regular basis. And I'm excited just to be here in the booth and watch this piece.
Yeah, absolutely. His first of 2 races for Jason and I today here at Talladega. And, a lot of these same drivers are going to be in the Cup Series later this afternoon. But right now, we still have some laps to try to sort this one out. 94 laps to get it done here tonight at the biggest of them all, the 2.66-mile Talladega Superspeedway, as the race-to-end Hep C Toyota Supra, which, Dave, it's going to be right in your wheelhouse, calling that a Supra tonight, leads them down the back straightaway behind the iRacing pace car. Jason, I'm excited about this one.
Yep, absolutely. It's gonna be a great one, and I can't wait to see how this fares up, especially compared to the Cup Series race that we're going to be seeing in a few hours' time as well.
Dave?
Absolutely, and right now the iRacing.com pace car getting ready to bring the cars through the 3-4 complex, and as they get through turn 3, we're going to get ready to see all of these cars take that 2.66-mile trip for lap number 1, as we do see Nathan Alul and John Hopley on that front row. These drivers going to show us the way, as the 26-year-old out of Paris, France, Nathan Alul, is going to have his hand on the outside. So, Tony, let's get green flag racing.
As the pace car makes that lazy left turn down below the mustard line, John Hopley has the button, bringing him into the Geico restart zone. The thing let's say it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some boiled peanuts, because it's time to get it on in Dega. Race fans, it's show time.
Hopley gets the inside line underway here as he is being pushed by Alex Araldson as they get into turn number 1. Araldson not trying to come off of that bumper anytime soon. Gives Hopley the push that he needs as the car's just getting underway now. And as we see here, lap 1 of 94 laps, the scheduled distance, the 2 pushing the 26, and the inside line has got one heck of a run. That's something that we're seeing a lot in these B-class races, the Xfinity cars, as we are just about 3 wide. Someone shuffled to the outside. That should have been A.J. Green and the 21 machine, who were just on the outside, making it 3 wide.
They are still 3 wide in the mid-pack, trying to get it sorted out. Almost 4 wide for a second there. And that's back around just outside the top 10 as we've got some smoke as guys already beating and banging on each other here at Talladega. And I'm seeing smoke out of a couple of cars.
Yeah, I would assume that's not engine, but I'm definitely seeing smoke out of someone on the bottom lane. I don't know whether it's possible to have suspension damage already, especially when there's no contact. Maybe that's just visual or whatever, but we're 3 wide once again, and 3 very distinct lanes forming here, and actual lanes at that as well.
Nathan Alul, the Frenchman, hanging it on the top side, rim riding up there.
Oh, we're about to have 4 wide.
Oh, boy.
Watch back
and
here
wisely, someone backing out of it.
Wow. Someone decided that was way too much psychosis for them this early in the race. As the 38 gets one heck of a run, that's Michael Hagstrom. He's now leading a third line that is formed. That middle lane was just about 4 cars, and, I've talked about it 100 times here on the air, guys, and, this almost looks like synchronized chaos at the beginning of these pack races because it just looks so graceful.
Well, the thing to think about is think about the Schuylkill Expressway at about 5 p.m., Dave. And
I shudder at
this
that
holds
thought.
true for just about any major city across the U.S. Think of the 3-lane highway that you take home from work every day and the tight traffic that you're in. Now speed that up to just a tick under 200 miles an hour as these guys have already hit. I'm seeing 193, 195. Christian Malchuk has already been 199. Brian Chu and Christian Delgado just crested 200. Instead of 55 miles an hour, these guys are doing almost 200 miles an hour.
And you can see those speeds right here in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, folks. I'm Dave Regal. He's Tony Trapasso. And our other broadcast partner, Mr. Jason Sauford from across the pond. You're watching Sim Racing Media. This is the iSNF Xfinity Series Ricky Bobby 250 live from Talladega, Alabama. And we're here on YouTube.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribing, turning on those bell notifications. Give us a thumbs up, as that's going to help us, get out there to more and more eyeballs to see your friends and family. Oh, contact the 3's around. We're about to have the big one.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, dear.
We got one upside down. Jeepers.
Right, I think the easier question to answer is who's not involved. Everyone John Hopley and above seems to have got through it with minimal damage.
What I want to know is who was in the 38.
We're going to take a look here at the 38. That's Mr. Michael Hagstrom, the 60-year-old out of Helsingborg, Sweden, with one career win. Let's go ahead.
Actually, I take that back. It wasn't him. It was the 39 of Rhea Ferris that just came sending it through there.
Well, let's back up. It's going to take a while. All kinds of pandemonium in iRacing timing and scoring right now, as I think my computer just tried to... Yeah, it tried.
I see what happened here. So the 3 came up on the 51 to try and throw a block. I guess the 51 wanted to then move around, and then they're still blocking. You saw the rest.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at this from the spotter cam, as this is kind of one of my favorite cams here at Talladega. And we see the 3 car, as Jason had just said. He's here leading the 24. And just as AJ Green comes out of turn 4, he slides up almost to throw the block there in front of the 51. And that's all she wrote there, as it looks almost like my 4-year-old just took his hands and wiped his hands across the Hot Wheels cars.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just kind of what that did look like.
One more look here from the cockpit of the 3, just because I can only imagine what this might have looked like. We'll take a look here from the interior of the 3 car. I hope he wasn't in a motion rig, and I hope he didn't have a direct drive wheel, because he's going to have to go to the hospital for that one.
Oh, there's a couple of wheels out there that don't need to be direct drive. If anybody's running a Thrustmaster 500 TS5 or TR500, That's a belt drive wheel, and it's still powerful enough to lift a solid oak table up off the floor. A solid oak dining room table, folks. So if people have their force feedback turned up, somebody's hurting right now.
Well, and here we are on lap 6 of 94. So obviously we aren't going to see too many pit stops. I'm assuming we've had several come in so far. Looks like everybody who, of course, was involved there. But your top 4 of Araldson, Hubbard, Hagstrom, and Butcher Benjamin not coming down pit road. So I guess rows 1 and 2 right now are going to be the ones to watch, as they didn't have to come in and get any service done.
They didn't, but a couple things to keep in mind tonight. There is one fast repair, and they've only got 3 sets of tires to get them through all 94 laps. Shouldn't be an issue, as this track is not normally known for destroying tires. The only time you really have to worry about it is if you charge that commitment cone a little too hard and have to lock them down.
Yeah, there's I was still having a look through the crash that caused all this, and I honestly was about right. The top 6 drivers after that were pretty much the only ones who weren't affected, unless because there were also a few drivers a bit far back as well, so they wouldn't have been too affected by it. But John Hopley didn't seem to get affected too much, apart from the fact that he will have some sort of penalty to clear unless the black flags have been cleared. I think the black flags have been cleared, but he would have got an unsafe pit entry.
Everyone except Treadwell had a black flag cleared.
Okay.
And I think Treadwell just got popped for EOL anyways.
Well, it's either that or he's willingly giving up all those spots and trying to get everybody else a black flag.
Nope, EOL. I just saw the stream, EOL. So, lights are out on the official iRacing pace car. Alex Araldson, the Swede, going to lead us down to green. Peyton Hubbard, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Mikkel Hagstrom, and Curtis Kelly rounding out your top 5 as they currently sit, with Hagstrom having a lot of rear-end damage on that Mustang. Jason?
Yes, definitely not having taken his fast repair then.
Safe bet, and I can understand that. It's only damage to really the rear roll pan or back bumper, if you will. Shouldn't really affect him too much, and actually should make it a little bit easier with the way that car's sitting for him to be able to get pushed by your pole sitter Curtis Kelly. Curtis Kelly, who's sitting +8 right now. Nathan will go ahead.
Araldson brings the cars through the Geico restart zone. He hits the loud pedal, and his Chevrolet Camaro shoots out in front of the 38, driven by Mikkel Hagstrom. As we are back green flag racing, I didn't mean to cut you off, Tony, but right now
fine.
It looks like the 18 of Peyton Hubbard now sucking up to the rear of Alex Araldson. As we have somebody with connection issue there, that's the 20. That's the 20. It looks like in the top row in the A-game Ford Mustang.
28.
28, close enough. That's Taylor Butcher Benjamin. By the way, unrelated, but speaking of A-game, taking a look here at that paint scheme, have you guys had the pleasure of trying A-game energy drink yet?
I have not.
A-game was introduced by a former New York Yankee, and it was actually introduced at Dover Motor Speedway when a couple of my friends and I went down this year, and it is delicious. It's kind of like Gatorade, but made with fresh fruit instead of high fructose corn syrup. It's delicious.
Really?
It is. Highly recommend.
And it's an energy drink, you say?
Yeah, it's like Gatorade with a splash of happy. Oh, the 24 is starting to get loose. That's Curtis Kelly, the Canadian, up here in the Good RX Toyota Supra. He's leading the line now with the 28 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin in tow, as now it looks like the 24 thought he'd try to form a third line. I'm not sure what his thinking there was. as he's bringing along Taylor Butcher Benjamin and Isaac Wilson in the 92.
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely would have wanted to get down there, but that looked pretty interesting through 1 and 2 for the 24. I think we do have a third lane forming here with the 38 was heading in the middle lane. Another car, I can't quite tell who that is.
Looks like 78.
Top. Yeah.
That would be James Bowles trying to figure out how to get up there. He's got the 74 of Kyle Serretz with him. Fastest lap of the race so far belongs to the 45 of Trey Mitz, though, as he just turned a 50.61. The first one flirting with going sub 50 seconds here tonight.
The 92 just went from the third row all the way back here to the rear of that front pack as maybe he decided to get out of the line of fire. As things are still hot and heavy atop the pile here with Taylor Butcher Benjamin right in the midst of things in the number 28 A-game Ford Mustang. He's chasing down Curtis Kelly. It sounds like on race radio guys are getting a little nervous.
Yeah, it absolutely is, because they're 3 wide, and it's a sketchy moment. Yes, you can do it here at Talladega, but you have to trust everyone around you. And a lot of these guys have trust issues. How much trust issues? They look both ways before crossing a one-way street.
Tony, you know how I hate that diamond pattern that usually breaks out in the 1.5 miles?
Uh-huh.
This is worse. I'm looking right now. If I was the 18 driven by Peyton Hubbard from Poppy Bank, I'd be praying to God that nobody flinches or farts right now, as right now he is holding steady with now Clarence Prince in the Hooters Toyota Supra is the meat in that sandwich between the 38 and the 88.
Never what you want to see, but I can understand why these guys are trying to make the moves that they are. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin is starting to get the blinkies, something fierce.
I don't see a car spinning on the track.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not just getting hot and heavy on the track, it is on the in the in-game voice chat as well.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just to pull back the curtain a little bit and see what we do here at Sim Racing Media, the three of us have the race radio scanner going in our earpieces as we're sitting here in our respective studios. Of course, Tony Trapasso in New York, upstate New York, and of course myself here just outside of Philadelphia, and Jason Sawford from across the pond in England. It's interesting that we can hear some of the conversation, and you know, the three of us sitting here in the broadcast booth are getting nervous, and we're not even out there.
Oh, you're not wrong, and yeah, that would be why there are drivers very unhappy, as the 10 of Casey Tomlinson just had a big moment a couple laps ago going into 1. As I'm trying to see who he and the 66 of Colin Zimmer got into it.
Yeah, and while you're looking at that, we're using all the lanes.
Oy!
2 rows of 3 wide here with the 28, the 51, and the 2. Then the 38, the 24, and the 18, all 3 wide. That's 6 all abreast. And right now, Charles Robertson is trying to hold all of them back on his own here in the 11 car as Alex Arnoldson comes up to try to form some kind of sanity line in the top side. About that sanity line, it just disappeared. We're 3 wide again.
Absolutely. And, you know, if you're Mikkel Hagström, you've got to be wanting to just scream right now as, unfortunately, Taylor Butcher Benjamin in front of him continues to blink in and out, and that's got to be unnerving for every driver around him.
Especially when you're talking about speeds that are edging up here on 189 and 190. I mean, it's hairy enough as we're here, but my goodness, 14 laps of 94, and we're still 3 wide. Nobody's really sorted anything out except for what appears to be about this front 6 who've all gone single file.
Well, now they are, but you know, the other thing to think about too is these guys only have a 65% fuel fill, so we're getting dangerously close to green flag pit stops for the guys that haven't come in yet. So something to really be mindful of. Now, there were some takers on that first caution to come down pit road and get some fuel dumped into those things while they were taking their fast repair. But, you know, guys like Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Alex Eraldson, Mikael Hagstrom, and Peyton Hubbard have all not yet been down pit road. So they are going to be the first four, along with Kyle Sirat, to to bring those rides down for service, and I would assume fuel only.
More than likely, especially with tire wear not being a factor. Taking a look here at the second grouping of drivers, it's currently led by Brian Chu. It's technically the third pack, but Brian Chu, Rhea Farris, John Hopley, and Christian Delgado all in here, and it looks like Rhea and Brian. Now, I've raced with Brian here at Talladega in trucks before in I forget what event that was. It was a special event, but Rhea Farris is perfectly happy after what just happened earlier on here, just hanging out behind Brian and waiting for a time where everybody can regroup themselves, because after what just went on, it's safer to be conservative at this stage in the race.
It absolutely is, especially if you've already burned your fast repair. You really have to be mindful of what's going on in front of you, behind you, and with your own car, because one false move from now on, you're not coming back for at least 45 minutes.
I mean, this is the time in the race where I'd be more than happy to just sort of sit back, even in that third group, fourth group, just sort of sitting there, being less vulnerable. Because I really wouldn't want to be in the middle of it in, lap 17?
Well, speaking of middle of it, right now, Peyton Hubbard is the meat in the sandwich of a 3 wide yet again up towards the front of this piece. And they finally get that all sorted out as somebody wisely bailing out. Is I believe we've got one going down pit road. That's Isaac Wilson.
That was a lockup down pit road as well. Hopefully you got it stopped in time.
Yeah, hopefully.
And these drivers are running so close to one another that iRacing timing and scoring, as we're watching it here on our screens in our studios, I mean, the names are shifting just as quick as the wind can move. I mean, these guys, there's nothing that's more than a tenth of a second right now. Everything is quick.
And I see why Isaac Wilson came down. He clearly doesn't care about the stage points, as pit lane is now closed, as the stage is coming to a close itself. We're on lap 18, coming on to lap 19, so we're going to be white flag for the stage. Getting Bowles leading it at the moment, but that second lane headed up by Alex Araldson, so two great drivers up at the front,
going.
and that's going to be the end of the stage.
That absolutely is going to be the end of the stage. Everybody checking up right now. Looks like Curtis Kelly and Clarence Prince getting into it.
We're going to run that back real fast, folks. Stand by.
The 18 refusing to back out of it, getting into Curtis Kelly, and that's really what popped that whole thing off. And Kelly is not a happy camper.
Do you blame him?
No.
Far from it.
Is it the 18 or no, it was the 19?
No, it was the 18.
Negative?
The Hooters 18.
I have the Hooters 19.
So do I.
Is that an... Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to tell you what to
That's
do,
just
but...
Yeah, that was a 19. I'm sorry. I can't read. I don't...
Lucky that only involved those two, and then the 21 getting a decent line as well.
Oof. That is frustrating.
So I'm going to step away for a couple of minutes and get things set up for the Cup broadcast. You two boys have fun, and I will join you in a few minutes.
And while you do that, we are going to step aside as well and hear from our good friends here, of course, at SRM.
Are you struggling to keep up with the top drivers? Are you ready to get faster and more consistent? If so, it doesn't have to take as long as you might think. With the VRS competitive subscription, you'll have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything you need to analyze your driving and see exactly where you're losing time. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off your lap times. When it comes to your equipment holding you back, the powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the best drivers in the world, including Jordan Caruso, Tim Ryan, Jordi Lopez, and Oscar Piastri. It's no secret that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also the best value for money. So if you're looking to upgrade your wheelbase to direct drive and want highly adjustable, ultra-realistic pedals, VRS is your answer. You can get better, faster, and more consistent in less time and for less money. You owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. Just go to the URL or the button below and learn why the best use VRS. To win in sim racing, you have to know when to send it. So pay attention. This means it's time for everyone to send it. This flag means someone sent it too hard, and now we all have to slow down. This means someone sent it so hard, we all have to go back to the pits and wait for the track to be cleared. And we don't get to send it again until we see this flag. This flag means you haven't been sending it hard enough and now need to get out of the way. When you see this flag, it's your last chance to send it. And when you see this flag, if you sent it the best...
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Dave Regal, Jason Sauford, and Tony Trapasso here in the broadcast booth. Isaac Wilson and Alex Arnoldson going to sit on the front row now, as Wilson in the 92 going to have his finger on the button in that Tedlar Chevrolet Camaro, the iRacing.com pace car, getting ready to dive down pit road. He moves down nice and easy as we've got a ton of time before we make it that far. Of course, here at Talladega, that start-finish line not at the middle of the trioval like you see on traditional super speedways, a mile and a half. So it's actually down on the dogleg toward turn 1. So as Wilson going to bring the field through the trioval, he hits the Geico restart zone, and we are back green flag racing at Talladega Superspeedway.
Isaac Wilson up at the top after having a couple of laps before the stage ended. That's why he's up there now, up 6 positions. James Bowles up 21. Currently sitting in second place in the bottom of the lane. As outside lane has started to form up and they're getting a decent little run together.
They absolutely are. And here on lap 23 of 94, we've seen a couple of cautions today that were brought out, of course, by, you know, it's kind of like back in the day in Major League Baseball. That was just Manny being Manny, and right now it's just Dega being Dega, as, you know, drivers still have a little bit to sort out here as we're still too wide. You know, a lot of times that you see, especially in the Cup Series, you see a lot of single wide, you know, single file lines, but in the Xfinity cars, you can still go too wide without too many bad things happening. And right now it looks like Isaac Wilson going to be retaining the lead as they are just thick running through here. Now Rhea Farris, chief cook and bottle washer here in the iSNF series. She's sitting right now in 6th position as she is up 19 spots from where she had begun this race, and all that patience that she has had so far through these first 24 laps starting to pay off for Rhea.
Yeah, absolutely. Patience is a virtue, and it's definitely no different here at Talladega or any other super speedway. It's been described to me many times like a chess match at 200 miles an hour, and I couldn't agree more. And it's just, it goes your way and then it doesn't, and then, well,
listen, that's very well said. Sometimes it goes your way and then it doesn't. I mean, you know, Talladega is one of those tracks that you would think shouldn't be finicky because, you know, you're traveling on a 3-wide super stretch back here on the backstretch. But in all reality, you're basically doing the Mamba on landmines.
yeah, and so long as it goes your way on the final lap, then you're good, I guess. If it doesn't go your way in the final lap, then unlucky.
Oh, the
it's not
18
going
makes
the
contact.
18's way.
The 18 and the 78 make contact. They go down into the grass, but keep it moving forward. So we will stay green as the 18 comes back up. Now the traffic is passed. That leaves Isaac Wilson all alone out here with Rhea Farris getting ready to draft up to his rear bumper. I think we're going to see her maybe stay single file here on the low side, as now she's out here with a vengeance for that top spot.
Yeah, taking a look at what happened, the 18 did just drift up. Purely drifted up into the 78, and then they both had a little nice trip through the grass. Luckily, both keeping it in a straight line, but that's really not going to help either of them, as this was a pretty decent event for some of the drivers in our top pack. Because that has removed 2 great drivers from the top and then 3 wide of the 1. Blinked. Yeah,
And now we're 3 wide with the 14 in the middle, drifting up into the front of the 28. My goodness.
I don't know how TBB's managed this, but his quality is above 100 currently. I disagree.
And the quality may be there, but I wonder what his ping is.
Yes.
The ping has to be somewhere near 200 for that.
Oh, it was up at it started with a 6 at some point, but
Wow.
take a look, we're still 3 wide here, a little bit back in the front pack. 14 managing to get themselves out of the 3 wide situations. That top lane's getting shuffled back.
Well, if Taylor Butcher Benjamin is there at home in Baltimore, Maryland, there's been some stories. We've got a wreck in turn 1. And it's pandemonium yet again, the 27 and the 31 together as they bring it back down.
Take a look, see what happened there. So let's start with the 54 and the 30. One of the drivers was getting shuffled back in the top lane. Just as I was saying that, tried to come down into what was then the middle lane. Unfortunately, the nose of the 54 was there. They made contact, and that's all she wrote. And Marcus Hagman gets quip of the night, I think. He's asking if people have their spotters turned on.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then, don't get me wrong, you can have your spotter say something like, "Oh yeah, you're all clear," and maybe it's a blip or maybe it's a hiccup, but not very often. So it's either you're ignoring your spotter or you don't have him turned on at all.
Yeah, well, understandably, Brian Chu not very happy with that one, and penalty given to Michael Hagstrom for that one has been given in the OL, though I don't think it's going to matter because he's in the pits at the moment. So it'll probably end up being end of line anyway.
Speaking of Brian Chu, he's from Fort Myers, Florida. I want to see if I can get a hold of him, and let's see if I can find him here.
That's the wrong broadcast booth.
Sure is. Let's try this again. Brian Chu, Dave Regal, Jason Sawford up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
I got you.
Hey, man, kind of a rough go there here with this caution, but we're really curious more about how things are going down there in Fort Myers. Is everything okay with you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too emotional right now. It's been a rough week. Family's okay. We have a lot of extensive damage to houses and stuff down there, but kind of more heart-wrenching just because my hometown and where I grew up kind of got blown away down there. So, I mean, important is everyone's okay. I mean, as far as within the family, I know there's going to be a lot of deaths in this, and it's looks like a war zone down there. Saw helicopters are trying to rescue people off like Sanibel, Pine Island and stuff. So definitely a hard week.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw you having a kind of a hard time here on this caution, but as soon as I realized that you're Fort Myers, I wanted to check in with you and let you know. I mean, here at SRM, we're just as spread out as almost everybody in iRacing, and our thoughts and prayers and our hearts are with you and your family down there, man.
I really appreciate it. We're a strong community, so it'll take some years to get back, but we're gonna hang in there, man. I appreciate the love out there.
All right, man. Listen, have a good rest of your race. How many minutes of damage do you have down there?
Yeah, I mean, I got about a minute left. Honestly, the car on the outside was a little bit slower. I was going to his inside, and I don't think he saw me till too late. Just kind of turned down on me, and I already used my fast repair on the previous one, so it's kind of not been a good race for me. But I'm gonna try to hang in there. Just do what I can to get there to the end.
Absolutely, brother. All right, man. Listen, take it easy and know that we love you and we care about you and hope everything goes all right.
I appreciate all love, man. I really do appreciate that.
That was Brian Chu from Joe Gibbs Racing. Hopefully he went back to where he was supposed to go. Nope. He's in the other
Negative? Let me deal
JGR.
with that.
More JGRs than you can shake a stick at.
I
got it now.
Okay, cool. But yeah, good to hear from Brian and that everyone that he knows is all right. Obviously, our thoughts are with everyone affected by the hurricane. Obviously, not something that I have any experience with, but
Yeah,
it's just scary to see.
It's scary to see. I personally rode through a hurricane several years ago out in Daytona Beach. I was with my sister who lived down there at the time, and let me tell you, it is the most nerve-wracking experience of your life. It's terrifying.
Yeah, I can imagine so. I mean, I wouldn't want to know what that's like, but I think we are nearly at go time here as the lights are off on the pace car.
We should be, as the pace car lights are out, we're moving down the back stretch. Rhea Ferris, your new race, Isaac Wilson going to have his finger on the button with Rhea Ferris on the outside of row 1. Alex Arnoldson and Charles Robertson being scored in 3rd and 4th. Christian Malcharek and John Hopley in 5th and 6th in row 3. It's going to be an interesting restart here, Jason.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, haven't really seen Rhea Ferris have the button all too often. Oh no, it's Isaac Wilson, isn't it? I don't know who's actually leading this one. It's Isaac. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Sometimes iRacing timing and scoring is
stands.
very. Timing and scoring is fantastic when they're racing green, but when we're double file like this, it's hard to see. But it looks like the iRacing.com pace car has dove down pit road. That means that we should be getting ready to go back green flag racing here as Isaac Wilson brings them past the Yellowwood entrance to pit road. We come into the tri-oval ever so carefully as everybody starts to tighten up those gloves on the steering wheel. He enters the Geico restart zone, and here they go.
It's weird for me to think they're getting no gap as a good restart, but that's exactly what you want here as Rhea Ferris is immediately being shuffled into the middle here. The 2 and the 91 trying to make their way past her on the top side.
Yeah, she is going to have to side draft in order not to lose too many more spots. I mean, the side draft in these Xfinity cars, it doesn't give you a whole lot of momentum to move forward, but what it will do is it almost latches you onto that car that you're trying to catch up to. Like I said, it won't drag you forward. It won't pull you forward like a ladder, but if anything, it'll hold you on there like a tether.
Yeah, but she has managed to hold on and create a lane here with the 3, and then looks like the 51's going to be moving up to assist as well. So that's good news for her, as we're once again 3 wide here.
Yeah, Tony and I work together a lot, and every time I see this kind of a pattern, it's this and that diamond pattern where there's 1 in the front, 2 in the sides, 1 in the rear. Those are between that and 3 wide, those are the most terrifying formations on a racetrack. As we see Rhea Ferris being pushed by AJ Green on the outside, she dives down 2 lanes of traffic to take the race lead. She now gets one heck of a lead over Isaac Wilson in the 92. Now she's got to be able to hold off everybody as she may have been hung out to dry a little early.
Oh, that was looking for wide for a minute. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to hold 3 lanes of traffic, not for Not for the 5 laps we have until the stage break.
Oh, Rhea makes contact with the 24, the 91, and Rhea is flipping through the air.
That's going to be the stage.
Race control calling that the end of stage 1, or the end of stage 2, correction. We're going to roll this back here as Rhea Ferris found a new way to take that car through the air. Stand by, folks, as we pull this all together.
My goodness.
My goodness.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. For me, it looks like the 39 and the 24 moved into each other. I might be tempted to put it slightly more on Rhea, but it's very, very close.
Yeah, Rhea already calling it that, already saying she doesn't think that was on her, but let's get here to the chopper, and we'll see. Now, Rhea is that black number 39 right here in the middle of your screen. You can see her on the high side. It looks like the 91 slides down in front of her. She kind of comes up. In fact, we're going to see it a little better right here, as she's being pushed along by the 11. The 24 goes up, kind of wobbles, and then it's almost like the two of them just wanted the same spot and ran into each other, effectively spinning Rhea like a barrel down through turn 1.
Though I see why she moved into the space with the 91 ahead of her. It really looked like the 91 just stalled out immediately, and that might have been a reaction to it. But either way, that happened, and great picture for Rhea's car being upside down.
Yeah, I'll say she's definitely going to be down there on the infield care center very shortly if she isn't already, and it looks like she is. We'll chat with her in a minute, but right now, green flag, or I'm sorry, end of stage pit stops are underway here. As John Hopley, Nathan Alul, Christian Delgado, AJ Green, Joey Maines, just about everybody coming down pit road. Only Marcus Hagman and Brian Chu not coming down pit road, opting to try to get another lap back for each of them. And Rhea still sitting down on pit road in what looks to be a modified car at the moment. Let's see if we can get a hold of her down at the infield care center. Rhea Ferris, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do. How are you?
Well, sis, I think I'm doing better than you are right now, as I didn't just barrel roll through the backstretch there. Take us through that and tell us what happened.
Yeah, we were racing 3 wide, pretty aggressive, because we had pretty much a shootout coming to the final. The second stage, and yeah, we were doing a little bit of musical chair action, I guess, out there. That was just a little bit unclear of the car in front of them when they were making these changes. And it was just getting a little bit too aggressive out there. And I got sandwiched in there, as Tony likes to say, the meat in the 3 wide sandwich there. And looks like the 11 may have did a little bump drafting in a spot that you shouldn't bump draft. And then it just kind of, set fire from there. So set me into the 24, it looks like, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, definitely history as far as that car right now. Looks like you're driving a modified. I mean, at least you're not. If this was a real car right now, you would be on a stretcher being carried away more than likely.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for our A-Game 39. We had a really strong car. We were doing some side drafting in the proper spots, and I know that the stage came out, so that was stage. So I'm not sure where I got in that stage, but I'm pretty sure I got some stage points at least while I was in the air upside down. So at least the good from the bad on that situation, right?
Yeah, as soon as that flag came out, hopefully you can go back and take a look at timing and scoring and find out what stage points you're going to be awarded. But my goodness, that was quite a mess. But well, Rhea, how long do you have on repairs down there?
I have about 18 minutes of overall required. 12 minutes are required and 8 minutes of optional or something like that.
Well, you might as well get it all done. We're here on lap number 39 of 94, about 54 laps to the end. So I would say you're probably safe just going ahead and getting all of it done. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get it all done and then just try to salvage whatever points I can get at that point. Yeah. So.
All righty, fair enough. Well, listen, we'll let you get back down there to your team, and thank you for your time. We appreciate you.
Yeah, you too. RSS.
Well, Jason, a rough day for Rhea as we get ready to go back green flag racing. Marcus Hagman on the front row alongside Isaac Wilson yet again. Wilson getting the inside lane again here. The 29-year-old out of Shelton, Washington, with 2 career wins here in the iSNF series. So what are you thinking as we're going in now to this third stage?
Well, I'm thinking the starts have been pretty consistent from the 92. This is going to be what, third time restarting in first from the bottom lane, so he's going to be knowing what he's doing. And maybe we can tone down the aggression from most of the drivers just to get through. But so far, it's been a fairly exciting race. I'm looking forward to getting more of that.
Aggression? What aggression?
Just a little bit. Is it Hagman up front? I think it's Hagman up front.
It's Hagman and Wilson up front. Hagman on the high side, Wilson on the low side, in what would be P1 as they get ready to come into the Geico restart zone. And I'm not sure, but maybe Hagman got a jump.
Yeah. It would have been Hagman then that was in first, but was actually just up on the top lane. There's someone in a pavement modified bailing down to the bottom side and just off out of the way in the apron, and a much more single file start than the rest of them have been.
Well, this was something that I had talked earlier off air with Tony and Rhea, and I believe you were in the room by then as well. You know, there's a couple of leagues here, and this seems to be one of them, at least today, where a lot of bad things happen earlier on in the race, then a long, good section of the race, and then, you know, those last 5-10 laps become a complete bounce fest.
Yeah, this is the point in time where it tends to just become a bit more controlled, and people have seen what the moves can result in, and they don't want to be halfway to 3/4 of the way through the race. So last 5 laps is when we're really going to see go time, but I think from about now until that point it'll be fairly tame, although watch me be wrong as they may try and go through wide and someone earlier.
Yeah, you never know exactly when you're going to be wrong, and you never want to be wrong at that worst possible moment. Right now, taking a look at the 08 of Christian Delgado. The 21-year-old out of Abilene, Kansas. He is currently running this high line, and he's leading that high line. But right now, A.J. Green looking to make it 3 wide. As, you know, after everything that we've just seen, you'd think that somebody would want to just go double file for a little bit. But the 3 car looking to challenge there on the outside. Slides back in the line behind James Bowles here in that Malco Chevrolet Camaro. The Forlon Chevrolet here, that black number 3 coming down the backstretch. He's finally fallen into line, but now the 48 and the 08, Brock Evans in that Chevrolet Camaro. Get this, Jason. He started out shotgun on the field. Second to last, yeah. Basically shotgun on the field, and now running here in your top 5. I mean, that means that just about anything can happen at any given moment here at Talladega.
I mean, we probably could have said that from the start, and it would have been true. Didn't expect everyone to be 3 wide now, but here we are. And first time it happened, I'm not surprised that AJ Green was the one to do it. He's not satisfied unless he's leading from the front, and I don't blame him, and I admire him for that. And it's now James Bowles working with him up at the top. So
we have a 3-wide battle for the lead as Christian Delgado just slides down in front of Isaac Wilson.
Yeah. You were clear, just.
Oh, and we're 4 wide.
No.
Oh, no. Hold it together.
Don't do that.
We're 4 wide coming through the tri-oval. I think I just had an aneurysm. Oh, my.
Yeah, there's a way of getting past people, but stop this.
That's not the way, my friend.
I'm not going to complain about seeing 3 lanes ever again.
I
don't want to see whatever that was.
Listen, I have a Yingling Lager in my hand, and I got to be honest, I've only had one. I know I'm not seeing double. That was too many cars in a row.
Yeah, no, I like my cars in perfect lines. Rather than just anywhere on the track.
Well, it's kind of like when Q says to Bond, just bring that car back in pristine order. That's not the way to get it back.
Yeah, I'm surprised nothing went wrong, but it does show the talent of the drivers that we've got on show today, the fact that nothing did go wrong.
Brock Evans, now your race leader, as I had just mentioned, started shotgun on the field. Now leads this piece as we go down the back stretch here. On lap number 44 of 94, he's on the inside. AJ Green on the outside. Green has fought his way up 5 positions, but right now, farthest distance, you can't go any more than 31 spots in today's field, and Brock Evans has done it so far as he now leads this pack into the tri-oval. He's trying to hold back AJ Green and Isaac Wilson behind him. Not sure if he's going to be able to keep a hold of that, but for right now, it seems like he's got nerves of steel, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly think it's not worth trying to defend anyone trying to take the lead at this point in time. Even if you want to, I mean, there's no stage going to be coming up. So you're fine on that front, and oh, hello. 48's not going to be in the lead for much longer after this.
Oh, boy.
Please just form up. You're approaching a lap car.
Oh, we're
Okay.
4 wide to get around a lap car. The 08 is loose with that tail end waggling around coming into the tri-oval. As they cross-start finish here on lap number 46 of 94, AJ Green, your race leader. He's followed by Isaac Wilson, Brock Evans, JB Banner, and Christian Delgado here in your top 5. JB Banner in that number 88 Brandt Chevrolet Camaro. He's driving that machine right now as if he came right out of the Junior Motorsports stable in Mooresville, North Carolina. As he is sliding himself ever so gently into 3rd position, he gets shuffled back yet again by Isaac Wilson. It seems like this is suddenly going to be a 3-way battle for the lead between Wilson, Evans, and Green, as that outside line is just going to become a dump line.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be there because you'll just get shuffled back, but honestly, I don't think that's a terrible thing at this point in time still. You've still got a decent amount of laps left to make it happen. I mean, we're just nearly halfway, I think.
Yeah, we're just about...
correctly.
Yep, this should be halfway now as we're taking a look at Joey Maines from Kego Harbor, Michigan here in the number 90 Chevrolet Camaro. And I'll tell you what, Joey basically has lost 4 spots, but it's almost like he's holding back for a purpose. I'm not sure what his strategy is here, But driving the number 90 Danus Utilities Camaro looks like he's trying to hang back and stay out of the line of fire. As you can see, so many drivers right now in this neck of the woods be single file and maybe lightly double file as they're hanging back here waiting for the leaders to make a mistake.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, we're here until race end. It pretty much does not matter what you do from here. If you're in touch with the lead group and you keep your car clean, you have a chance. That's basically it at this point in time. As we are now 3 wide for the lead once again up at the top.
You know, to be completely honest, Jason, this is something you usually don't see until the last 2 laps, but they have decided to do this with 48 to go. Well, with 47 to go. Oh, and the one car is suddenly shuffled in there. That's Brian Treadwell. He is a lap car trying to survive out here on the track. This may not end well for him as, it's getting ugly.
I was going to say maybe they want to have fun, but if this is your definition of fun, then we disagree.
If this is your definition of fun, you're a sociopath.
Speaking of sociopaths, welcome back, Tony.
Well, that was an adventure, boys. What I just had to go through.
Did you have to jump through any hoops of fire?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
Trying to get everything set up properly for when I have to run cameras in a little bit here. So just bear with me here as I'm making that final adjustment. And Jason, I'm going to send this to you and you tell me what you think of it.
Ooh, I'll have a look while we're running this race, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you've been keeping an eye on it,
The 92 is slipping out on the outside of Brock Evans yet again, and it looks like we're going to have another 3-wide battle for the lead as Brock Evans is still holding his own here in that 3-wide situation. He's obviously figured out what I was talking about earlier with, your drafting, not necessarily launching you ahead of a car, but basically tethering yourself to a car. It's almost like a, like a lead lag situation as you're just being dragged along. As we're nearly 4 wide again coming through the tri-oval. Tony, while you were gone, this is the kind of psychosis that we've been dealing with.
Yeah, it absolutely has been just a wild adventure. Oh, great! I'll go take care of that. Bear with me.
Yeah, I'd like to get an insight into the minds of some of these drivers because, 3 wide at this point in time is an interesting decision. Not one that I would make.
Well, the 26 is into the 48. The 48 hits the 92, and we have pandemonium out at the start-finish line.
And so displays why I wouldn't make that decision.
There you go.
Hashtag not wrong.
And the 26 became a Beyblade. I'm just having a look what happened there, and unfortunately I can say nothing, but the 26 came up into the 48. Maybe a bit of a wiggle there, but...
Well, the 88 wasn't helping as he had slid and caused a disturbance in the air behind the 92. But meanwhile, the 26 just got right up into the side.
Yeah. Ow for the 18.
And let the radio screaming begin in race chat.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
And there it is.
The 18 was probably the most unlucky driver there, getting a race car to the face.
You know, that's the hardest thing, really, for a lot of these drivers is you're at Talladega, you want to just lay a brick on the accelerator pedal and go.
Yeah.
And the only problem with that is if something pops off, you really have to be on the binders hard, and it's very difficult, you know, when you get your foot in a comfortable position to move it quickly. You know, and a lot of these drivers aren't used to braking with their left foot, like you have to do on a lot of short tracks, and that's kind of what leads to some of these issues, is the fact that you've got guys plowing in at warp speed and they can't get on the brake fast enough. And while we're under caution, we're going to step away, pay a couple bills. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back to Talladega for the iSNF Xfinity Series. Trey Mitz using a little pit strategery to get out there to the lead. He is going to be the control car when we turn him back loose. Mitz, Green, Delgado, Banner, Smith, Elridson, Tomlinson, Hageman, and Van Maastricht are going to be your top 10 when we do turn them loose. And, you know, I'm kind of digging that Corvette Parts and KeenParts.com Chevy of Mitz tonight. You know, it's one of those kind of underrated paint schemes that we're seeing out here. But take a look at the 08 of Christian Delgado. He is completely missing the back end of the bodywork on that Mustang. That's going to be a rough one.
It looks like that Keen Parts, Corvette Parts 45 of Trey Mitz. It looks like somebody took a hammer to the back of that thing.
Or at least he backed into a telephone pole. How much tequila was involved in that situation?
I was about to ask if there was any tequila involved.
Tequila was involved. Get off me. No, you ever ridden a floor buffer?
A what now?
A floor buffer.
Yes.
Jason's probably sitting there going, what the hell are they talking about?
Just follow along. Here we go.
You stand on a floor buffer, pull the trigger, and try to hold on for 8 seconds.
Okay.
And those things spin quickly. Surprisingly quickly.
I can't believe that you haven't been to the hospital more times than you already know.
I can't believe it took me 42 years to get into a wheelchair.
Yeah, I mean, after those kind of life decisions...
Oh, dude. When I was younger, I used to go bridge jumping with my friends all the time.
That explains a lot. Were you near the rocks?
No. Oh,
no. See, I thought maybe you had incurred some type of cranial trauma.
We were in a boating lane, though. So we had to have a guy on each side of the bridge going, okay, it's all clear. Okay, go. And you'd step over and jump in the water.
Speaking of OK Go, Trey Mitz watching the pace car turn down pit road. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
Trey
I like
Mitz.
it. I like it a lot.
A lot. Trey Mitz getting ready to bring the field into the Geico restart zone. He's getting a little nervous here as those hands grip the steering wheel. The foot smashes to the floor, and we go green flag racing yet again here at Talladega. And folks, we're going to step aside. You're going to turn it up, and we're going to watch some great racing here on Sim Racing Media. Welcome back. We are going to stop our Turn It Up segment here as it appears something has gone on with Trey Mitz. Not real sure what's happened. We're going to run this back and take a look as maybe we can find out exactly what went on.
Oh, the 08 managed to find an exact car width gap underneath him. Just about got alongside before the 45 could react. And to be honest, I still don't know enough about oval racing.
Well, the best thing to do is go to the chopper cam, Jason, and see what you see is who's moving.
Trey Mitz is not a happy camper right now. I can tell you that.
Understandably.
It was very much an if gap car move from the 08, but there was the space there and he took it. Therefore, he is a racing driver.
There you go.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, you are watching the iSNF Xfinity Series here on the Ricky Bobby 250 at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. And I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso and Jason Sawford here in the Sim Racing Media broadcast booth. You're watching us live on YouTube.com. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications as, you know, your friends and family, they're out here racing. You want to make sure that more eyeballs get on them? Well, that's the way that you do it. And right now, AJ Green, your race leader, as a lot of this race has suddenly, out of nowhere, gone single file. We had some really hot and heavy door handle to door handle racing earlier on through this piece. And now for about the next, the top 8 cars, all single file as everybody decided to be a little bit more patient as we're on lap 62 of 94 here at Talladega.
Yeah, man.
Don't mind me.
Don't
The
mind the
guys
man
out-
behind the curtain. AJ Green leads your race. Alex Araldson running in P2. Marcus Hagman, the other Swede here in our field, in the top 10. Running in third position, Charles Roberson in the number 11 Chevrolet Camaro, sponsored by Poppy Bank, running in fourth. And Chris M. Smith getting ready to do side-by-side battle with Taylor Butcher Benjamin. TBB holding on there to the outside line, and that's where we start to see drivers doubling up a little bit as even Taylor Butcher Benjamin slides in single file with Casey Tomlinson running in 7th position, James Bowles in 8th, Christian Delgado in 9th. The 21-year-old out of Abilene, Texas, is just in front of and inside the top 10, along with Steven Sear, the 33-year-old out of Poland, Maine. And I wonder if he's ever seen the Poland Spring, Tony.
He has. He's actually admitted that. He has been there. And not exactly what you think it is.
No, it's like a trickle of water in an outhouse.
Well, it's an outhouse that you're not allowed to go in.
No one must
leave
ever
it at
touch
that.
the river.
Huh?
No one must ever touch it.
Yeah, pretty much. You're definitely not going to want to be in there because it is a felony.
Is it really?
Tampering with a water supply. They sell the water. They have permission to sell the water. And, yeah, they, you know,
That
it
is
is
some
what it is.
exclusive water.
Yes, it is.
Well, taking a look here at Chris M. Smith and Taylor Butcher Benjamin, looks like TBB out of Baltimore, Maryland, has those connection issues figured out, and the A-game Ford Mustang is now leading another charge on the outside as he's now got 4 cars in that outside pack. Now, I know that in the Cup cars, you only really need 3 cars that are perfectly set up and linked together to really mount a charge. But here in the Xfinity Series, you definitely need to outnumber that inside line to make any kind of progress here on the outside, as Taylor Butcher Benjamin is trying to do. He is followed along by the 38.
Hang on to her. AJ Green catches the apron going through 1 and 2 is all sorts of sideways. Still doesn't have that car really collected as Alex Araldson having a Code Brown moment trying to stay off him. That's going to let that outside lane get the run down the super stretch.
We're going to take a look at that right here with AJ Green being followed by the 2 car. And as they dive into turn 1, we're going to see AJ Green get down right close to that mustard line. He's going to hold it, but now we're going to start to see him drift down ever so gently. And my goodness, he's got to be in there soiling himself.
I think Alex Eraldson in the deuce is probably pitching a deuce right now. I went there.
The Perstorp, Sweden native, the 34-year-old, is here in the number 2 Whalen machine. That Chevrolet Camaro now pushing the bejesus out of the rear end of A.J. Green. And just as he gets into A.J. Green's rear, he's followed up here on the outside by Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who's bringing along the 38, which is, the last I checked, a lap car. That's Michael Hagstrom. Here on the outside, as Hagstrom seems to have gotten that damage taken care of and is now pushing along Taylor Butcher Benjamin.
He is at that, but you've also had defending Cup Series champion Marcus Hagman sitting there in 4th, 3rd car on the low side, trying to make something happen, just biding his time right now because he knows the first rule of plate racing, don't push the pusher.
Yeah, it's almost like just as I said that things had kind of calmed down a little bit, that's when everybody decided to turn the heat up here on lap number 67 of 94 at Talladega Superspeedway. 2.66 miles the distance around this Bill France masterpiece. And I say masterpiece with the utmost respect because this place was built for speed, Tony and Jason. This place, he looked at Daytona and decided to flip the bird at the state of Florida and said, I want something bigger. And this is the biggest that he possibly could have gone.
It absolutely is. And, this place has a lot of history to it. It was once an Indian burial ground, but the U.S. government, during World War II, decided that they needed an air base in the Gulf. And through eminent domain, the U.S. Army at the time, Air Corps, took over this property, and then after the war, they still used it for training purposes. But in the late '60s, they started putting this thing on the market. They wanted to get rid of it, and Bill France heard about this after building Daytona. Went to the state of Alabama and said, "What do I need to do to put a track in your state?" Signed a multi-year deal and built this place, but it wasn't without its problems. Especially the first race here, they really ran into issues because the tire manufacturers had no intention of cars ever going as fast as they did around Talladega, and a lot of drivers boycotted that first race because of it.
Well, to be completely honest, you watch a lot of these drivers that, do really well at Talladega, and they're usually the people that we're angry at. So, I can't imagine back in the day what it was like, especially when they thought, oh, we can just hold our foot to the floor and see what happens. And speaking of holding our foot to the floor, A.J. Green now looking to the outside of Taylor Butcher Benjamin as they battle for the lead yet again. Tony, I think about that first race that was run here at Talladega, and I can't imagine what those drivers would think today.
They'd probably think that we're all nuts. Plain and simple.
You're right.
Especially you think about it, in the late 60s is when we first saw the 200-mile-an-hour mark broken. And it was an unofficial race. It was an unofficial NASCAR. It was a NASCAR Cup car with a GMC 671 supercharger on it, like you would see in drag racing. And Leroy Yarborough set the closed course record at 201.2 back in '66. 3 years later, and pole position was 205 out of a Dodge without a supercharger.
That was just driving around. It was also here and at Daytona where the King Richard Petty had discovered what drafting was, and I don't think when he discovered what drafting was that we would ever see what we do today.
Well, the thing is, he's not even the first one to have found it. That's actually was originally found by one Junior Johnson. He had a little bit of an underpowered Chevy at the time, back in the, right close to when this track was finished. And, Junior figured, well, if I follow this guy right in his tracks, I can gain on him and then just wait for him to make a mistake. I'm at least going to finish on the podium if I follow this guy. And thus, he was the first one to figure out drafting, and yes, it was here at Talladega that he did it.
Yeah, I mean, some of the history that we've seen in our sport has been written right here. I mean, the greatest names in NASCAR have all sat in victory lane here. Of course, the most wins here over history has been Dale Earnhardt Sr., of course, with 10 wins. The most consecutive wins is another Earnhardt, but this time it's Dale Jr. with 4 consecutive wins here at Talladega. Dale Earnhardt has the most top 5s, the most top 10s. I mean, listen, Michael Waltrip has the most laps completed here. This is just one of those tracks where when you see the names in the record book, you realize that you are on hallowed ground.
Oh, absolutely, but there's still one more record here that I don't think they're going to allow to ever get beaten. And that was set by one Mark Donohue back in 1971 in a Porsche 917 with a turbocharger. It was his Can-Am car that they turned the wick up all the way and gave him all the boosts. 251 miles an hour average lap speed.
Wow. I can only imagine, and I'm not entirely sure, and I'm currently digging for it, but 250, did you say 251?
251.
251 is probably a far cry from Richard Brickhouse, who won the inaugural Talladega 500 here in 1969. I mean, I'm looking right now for the lap times and for the speeds, and I think they just kind of giggled at them and let them off the page.
Yeah, but the other thing to consider too, when Donohue set that record, there was no Hans device. There was no cocoon for the driver to be in. They didn't even have bolsters for your head in the seat. And it was an open-roofed car, open cockpit. So he's out in the elements doing this. And then I remember back when I was working in Cup, it was really what led to Rusty Wallace's retirement. Penske and NASCAR did a test here. It was Ryan Newman and Rusty Wallace, and NASCAR allowed them to take the restrictor plates completely off of their Dodges at the time. Rusty was clocked going into turn number 3 at 260 miles an hour. They told him about it back in the pits. He turned white as a sheet and said, "I'm retiring, folks."
Yeah, that would be about the end for me, too. By the way, I did find the stat here. Richard Brickhouse, in his 69 Dodge, started in 9th position that day on September 14th, 1969. And,
green flag stops.
Oh, my. Here we go. Green flag pit stops. His race speed, his average race speed, 153 miles per hour.
That includes a few cautions.
Yeah, it does. They had 35 lead changes that day and 7 cautions. Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., of course, from 2001 through 2002, of course, October and April of 2001 and October and April of 2002, actually April of 2003, Dale Jr. won 4 consecutive here, and I'll tell you what, his speeds here, now this has to be wrong. One of his speeds here in October of 2002, he's listed at 183.665, but in April of 2003, he ran a 144.625. Something's wrong there.
Yeah, pretty much.
With 18 to go, speaking of something wrong, Steven Sears staying out on track to get that bonus point for leading a lap. James Bowles, Chris Van Maastricht, Taylor Butcher, Benjamin, A.J. Green, James Bowles, I think I said him already, Chris Smith and Casey Tomlinson all down pit road getting ready to roll out. as they come off of pit road. Taylor Butcher Benjamin going to come off in 5th position. That's going to leave Bjorn Brostrom, Tyson Pankow, Derek Cook, and Steven Sear in this group of 4 atop the pile. Let's see how long they might try to stay out now, as they have not been back in since lap number 53.
Three wide again. Almost.
Of course we are.
It's Talladega. What do you expect?
There's enough room for it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Jason and I got to watch 4 wide earlier.
Why the hell not?
Yeah, just cars casually everywhere. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Nothing wrong here, as the great Bob Nestor of Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series fame would say. It's fine. Nobody died. Everything's okay. It's fine.
Blackjack, everybody lose.
Pretty much. And
Except
as we're
you.
taking...
You,
Well, yeah.
You lose the most of all.
I always lose the most of all. Don't you worry. Taking a look now at the 36-year-old Tyson Pankow out of Danville, Illinois, here in the number 17 HendrickCars.com Chevrolet Camaro. He's chasing down Derek Cook in the number 99 Good Sam Camaro. It looks like they're going to try to stay out, as Steven Sear has decided to come down Danville, Illinois. Of course, not the same as Danville, Pennsylvania. Beautiful place there. Nice little bridge in PA. But the Illinois native here now running P2 behind Derek Cook at Talladega, with now 16 laps to go in the Ricky Bobby 250 on the iSNF Xfinity Series.
That Good Sam Camaro continues to show the way of Derek Cook. He has yet to come down for the latest round of pit stops, as here comes Marcus Hagman in the 21.
Hagman getting ready here. There you go. There he is. Getting ready here to get that lap back the old-fashioned way, as it were. And now we see Derek Cook and his little gaggle of cars here coming down pit road.
You know, and the one thing we have noticed recently, if you're one of the first takers to go down pit road, you're going to have the advantage. For some reason, the undercut here on both plate tracks, here and at Daytona, is immense, and it's very surprising that if you can get 3 or 4 cars hooked up coming off of pit road early, you're in the catbird seat from there moving forward.
And here comes Bjorn Brostrom finally coming down pit road, as he has not been in since lap number 53. The 54-year-old out of Sweden. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Paraskiga?
Who, Bjorn?
Yes.
Oh, let's have a look.
I'm going to go with Karaskiga. Gaga?
Karlskoga.
Sure. Oh, I see the O now.
Karlskoga.
Now
Yeah.
I see the O. My apologies. My third monitor is a TV screen, and it doesn't have the same resolution that my primaries do.
Oh, you might want to fix that.
Yeah, it costs more money.
Yes, it does. But a little bit of damage on that Camaro that Bjorn is driving. And coincidentally, Bjorn's son, Linus, who was deep into the championship for the Cup Series last season, is actually in Talladega this weekend.
You don't say.
Yes, he is. Visiting the track, so not going to have that father-son duo on track for the Cup race here in a couple hours. But the one thing to note is Mikael Hagström is actually the father. Let me make sure I get this right. Is actually the father of Alex Weigert.
Yes. racing being very much family affair in Sweden as well as it is over in the US. So that's lovely to see. But honestly, with this lead pack single file, I think this is what I was expecting to see around lap 50. Lap 82, I was expecting to see them a bit more
racing.
aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe we're waiting for another few laps to get to that bit.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Tony, where it seemed like, at the time in the race where they should be calm, they were still side by side with torches and pitchforks out going around this track. And now they seem to have calmed down.
If ever so slightly, but I'm nothing but impressed by Christian Delgado right now. Being as with all the rear end damage on that Ford Mustang, he's still running in second. But if you'll notice, the 11 of Charles Robertson not getting close to that Mustang. And it's got to be an unsettling feeling knowing that Christian Delgado right now is the highest running blue oval. The next one is back in 7th of Taylor Butch Benjamin in the 28. So basically second and just about only is the caboose in this little freight train at the front.
Yeah, it's been a busy day here at Talladega Superspeedway. I mean, this race itself has been, 48 finally getting a push on the 28. But this race has been incredible, so as it is. And, here we are on a Sunday afternoon, and we would be remiss if we didn't pay attention to some of the other things going on in sports. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys leading the Washington Commanders 15-10. And looks like they're at the end of the third quarter.
Isn't that the seventh sign of the apocalypse?
Yes.
Okay.
No, the seventh sign of the apocalypse is if the Commanders ever go back to the Super Bowl.
No. The actual apocalypse. The actual apocalypse is going to happen this year. The Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres are both going for championships this season.
Buddy, listen, it's puff, puff, pass. But as a matter of fact, your Buffalo Bills right now knotted up with the Baltimore Ravens, tied up at 20 right now in the third quarter. Buffalo Bills have outscored the Ravens right now 17-6 since the second quarter. So, big day there. Right now, the Carolina Panthers getting ready to face off against the Arizona Cardinals at 4:05 on Fox. The Philadelphia Eagles, or the Philadelphia Eagles, as I like to think of them as, lead the Jacksonville Jaguars 14-23. And Jason, I believe earlier today you had a London game, correct? Nothing?
You'd know better than I do.
Allegedly.
So, allegedly, there was a football game played over in London today where the New Orleans Saints lost to the Minnesota Vikings 28-25. So obviously the National Football League deciding to go back and do the English tour, so to speak. And, of course, also as getting ready for playoffs, as here we are in NASCAR's playoffs, the Philadelphia Phillies still chasing down that second wild card position, leading the Washington Nationals 7-0 in the middle of the fifth inning. The Detroit Tigers lead the Minnesota Twins 5-2, and at 4:10 p.m. today, Frank Marchese's San Diego Padres will be hosting the Chicago White Sox out there at Petco Park in beautiful San Diego. I'm sure that the weather there is nicer than it is here on the East Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. The hurricane's starting to wreak havoc with the weather all along the eastern seaboard. But right now here in Talladega, Alabama, sunny skies, and we are racing.
It's always sunny in Talladega, and right now the real race is under caution. Kyle Larson leads that piece with Eric Jones in second, Ross Chastain in third, Ryan Blaney in fourth, and rounding out the top five in the real race is Christopher Bell in his Toyota Camry.
NASCAR's got to do something about these cars. Just the way that they're set up. The most noted complaint of all the drivers, especially the ones who have hit things like walls, even with the safer barrier technology, even with the full containment seats and all of the harnesses that they make these guys and gals wear, the drivers are saying that they're experiencing the hardest hits in the car, that from the outside they don't look too bad. And a lot of drivers have to go on concussion protocol because these cars are transferring so much energy into the driver again that I think NASCAR may have missed.
Well, here's one of the unfortunate things that I've always thought of when it comes to driver safety is so many of these drivers, we don't get some of the safety equipment until after something really bad happens. Even when we know that, the technology is available or that it's being developed, it's like they don't want to practice it until it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad that that's the case.
Contact between the 48 and the 78.
And that could have ended poorly for this entire front-running group, but right now they keep them pointed in the right direction as Charles Robertson shows the way in that number 11. AJ Green right there with him, Joey Maines, James Bowles, and Chris Smith rounding out your top 5. As we've got a little 6-car breakaway here. One of them is a lap car, though. One of these things is not like the other. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Listen, I appreciated the musical interlude.
Well, you got kids. You've watched Sesame Street before.
Yes, in
Heck,
fact,
you were a kid at one time.
I was never a child.
No. I said kid, not child.
I was never a kid either. To be fair, I don't think I ever actually grew up.
So you're still a Toys R Us kid?
Oh, yeah. So I worked for Toys R Us for a few months back in 2007.
You admit that in public?
Yeah, it was great. I worked with Jeffrey. He was he got the things on the really high shelves. And I put bicycles together and stuff, and then worked overnight. That was horrific.
Yeah, especially around Easter time.
That was the year of the Wii, and we only got 10 Nintendo Wiis in a week, and a Wii week, and they would be lined up at the door every Thursday just to get a Nintendo Wii. And I think, what a waste.
And how many fist fights did you witness?
7. What was that, Jason?
I said that's a wee bit too few.
I see what you did. Look at him. He's drank the Kool-Aid. The thing was, and the worst thing that I saw was Black Friday that year. A pregnant woman got trampled on the way in the door when they opened them. And I thought, that's enough. I'm done with this retail business.
Yeah, I got punched by a grandmother. I got punched by a grandmother on Black Friday as I was working at Bonton. Sorry, Jason.
Yeah, you guys take Black Friday a lot more seriously than we do here. For us, there are probably some sales, maybe, sometimes. That's about it. I mean, it's not bad, I guess. You've got...
Cyber Monday.
Yeah, Cyber Monday is when Amazon makes their yearly bonus.
And you know what? I got to be honest. I mean, I currently only live 15 minutes from King of Prussia, and the last place I would want to be on Earth is the King of Prussia Mall. Jason, to add a little color to that, the King of Prussia Mall is the second largest mall in America, second only to the one out in Minneapolis.
The Mall of America.
Yeah. And King of Prussia, listen, in my entire life, I have not been in the entire thing. What happened with Brian Treadwell?
Something just happened to Brian Treadwell.
We see him right here, the only car in the middle of your screen in the number 1 Chevrolet Camaro with Gatorade, that throwback paint scheme. Oh.
Huh?
I think he sneezed on the backstretch and put the car into the outside wall and ricocheted like a frickin' pinball.
We're going to take a look here from his helmet cam.
I think his wheel might have disconnected for a short amount of time because it exactly didn't move for the amount of time. Anyway, not to distract from this, but we are white flag, by the way.
Oh yeah, we are
The
racing back to
race we were
checkers,
having-
folks.
Yeah, we were having a nice little discussion there. We completely missed that we are white flag here up at the front. AJ Green and Charles Roberson battling it out. Top and bottom here. Not able to see who has the better run here.
Looks
Looking
like,
very
well,
tight.
Charles Roberson's going to have the run coming out of turn 4. He's being pushed along by Joey Maines in the number 90 Chevrolet. Looks like Maines is going to block off the 3. The 3's going to get a run coming through the tri-oval. They are side by side. But as they get ready to cross the start-finish line here at Talladega, who's it going to be? Charles Roberson brings home the checkered flag. AJ Green in second. Joey Maines rounding out your podium. They wreck at the start-finish line, and the mess has to be cleaned up.
Robertson, Green, Maines, Bowles, and Smith, your top 5. As everybody happy to be done with that one. But congratulations to Charles Robertson coming home with the victory here tonight. Colleague Racing out of Knightsville, South Carolina. One of the founding members of the iSNF, I might add.
That'll tack on to that will make him now 19 career wins for Charles Roberson as he brings along that Poppy Bank number 11 Chevrolet Camaro back in front of all these fans that have watched this entire race. And folks, we are glad to have you with us this whole race here on Sim Racing Media, watching us on YouTube.com. This race, gentlemen, has been absolutely great from start to finish.
Gentlemen, I've never been so insulted in my life.
I'll never do it again.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Or at least I won't do it again today, maybe Tuesday.
And I will poop in your shoes when you get to Florida.
I look forward to it. Warm and squishy.
No, it's okay. Unfortunately, Charles not in the live in the Discord server, and from the looks of it, neither are AJ Green or James Bowles.
Maybe they haven't been told to come in because it's being broadcast. I don't know. Charles Roberson has just appeared in the winner's circle.
There we go. And Jason, I believe you got Charles with you now.
I do indeed. Driver of the number of 11, up 11 spots for the win tonight. How did that go for you then?
Yeah, it was all right. It was just kind of putting yourself in position to win. I mean, we had a decent amount of wrecks in the beginning, but I got the worst luck at these things, man. So that I got one, I'm shocked.
Yeah, and it was a great one to win at that. I was surprised to see the amount of action really that was being had at the start of the race and towards the middle after we had the 2 stages as well. I mean, were you just trying to stay out the way of everything and everyone at that point?
Yeah, the first 2 stages I was up there just trying to get some stage points, but after that I was pretty much just riding around. I felt like there was a couple times there was a big wreck about to happen, and I dodged about 2 of them. So yeah, it was kind of hectic.
Yeah, and at any point did you have to use your fast repair as well? Because I know there was one available.
Yeah, that first wreck had happened. I was on the outside, and they just all checked up. I mean, they ain't nothing I could have done there.
Yeah, and looking forward, I don't know if we're going to cover it. I think we are covering the Roval next week.
Allegedly.
So, how are you looking forward to that one?
I mean, I'm decent at the Roval. I mean, I might get a top 8, so I don't expect to really be up front leading laps there. So, as long as I get a top 8, top 9, I'll be happy with that.
Oh, we may well see you there. And before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, Rhea, you guys. Rhea does a great job with her league, so it's always fun racing.
Well, congratulations on the win. Anything else from yourselves, Tony and Dave?
No, I'm good. Just congratulations, bud.
Thanks, man.
And we'll see you next week.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, we still don't have AJ Green. However, according to the in-server scoring, we do have our third place finisher with us now, Joey Maines. Joey, congratulations on a podium here at what is usually just a wild card race.
Yeah, thanks. I really didn't expect to get a top 3, especially since I got wrecked on lap 6 and I used my fast repair, but I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is the Pied Piper, Akego Harbor, Michigan, bringing home a podium. Are you going to use this to move on to the Cup race here in about an hour and a half?
That is definitely the goal, but with this being Talladega, anything can happen. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, Joey, you put yourself in a good situation all night long. What are your thoughts going into the Roval next week at Charlotte? Going to be kind of difficult to keep that car clean.
Especially since I suck at road courses, it'll be interesting. So we'll leave it at that.
All right, Joey, we're going to let you go celebrate. Who do you need to thank before we turn you loose?
Everybody, Rhea for putting on the league. Everyone had a decent race. Fun.
Joey Maines, congratulations on the podium. We'll see you next week in Charlotte.
All right, see you then.
Well, gentlemen, we got another one in the books.
That we certainly do. I mean, from top to bottom, this has been one heck of a race. I mean, we've seen some crazy ones at Talladega. This one didn't end crazy, but it began and ran crazy for quite a while before things finally settled out.
Oh, it absolutely did, and that's what you expect out of Talladega. Everybody's got speed fever when the green flag comes out initially, and then as the race wears on and drivers burn their fast repairs up because, hey, you were in an over-aggressive situation early, you kind of keep in the back of your mind that maybe I ought to tone this down just a tick.
Yeah, it was a very interesting race, and I'm surprised that we didn't see everyone tone it down a little bit earlier. I mean, there were stages to race for, but it was still pretty hectic after the end of stage 2, and then we got it toned down a bit until the last few laps, which is basically what I expected. But definitely a great race to watch and a great finish at that as well.
And speaking of finish, let's finish up with wrapping up with our final standings here. Charles Roberson brings home the checkered flag and takes it to victory circle. He's joined by AJ Green and Joey Maines on the podium in second and third. James Bowles finishes in fourth with Chris M. Smith rounding out the top 5. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in that number 28 A-Game Ford Mustang. Steven Sear, Tyson Pankow, Derek Cook, and Alex Araldson round out the top 10, Tony.
Casey Tomlinson, Chris V. Coming home as the last 2 cars on the lead lap. Defending Cup Series champion Marcus Hagman making a start here tonight in the Xfinity Series, coming home in 13th. Bjorn Brostrom and JB Banner rounding out your top 15. Where are we? There we go. Brock Evans, Kyle Surratt, Brian Chu, John Hopley, and Nathan Alul having nights that they just as soon forget, especially with Alul starting on the outside of row number 1 at the start, coming home in 20th. Jason?
Yeah, and then 21st will be Christian Delgado with Brian Treadwell, Clarence Prince, Michael Hagstrom, and Colin Zima rounding out the top 25. And then we unfortunately need to go all the way back to 31 laps down to find Rhea Ferris, and then Trey Mitz, Isaac Wilson, Peyton Hubbard, and Christian Malcharek in 30th. Then Curtis Kelly and Mark Hanna rounding out as Jacob Grant could not start because I believe I saw in the Xfinity chat that he had a power out just before the race started.
Yes, yes, he did. I saw that as well. So another Xfinity race in the books. It's always fun when we can bring the support series to you folks. It helps Jason and I get warmed up for the Cup race here in about 90 minutes. We will see you then. Until then, for Mr. Dave Regal, Mr. Jason Sofford, this is Tony Pastor. Remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you walk down the road of life, don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.